Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we'll be reviewing an anime reverse harem type time slip, thing. Anime and manga called... What's it called?
Meiji Tokyo Renka, which is loosely translated into Meiji Tokyo Love Song. Isn't that lovely?
Mm-hmm. So it's mostly about the how the Japanese, meets Western culture, and this girl goes back in time and sort of gets to know some really historic Japanese people that influenced Japan back in those days.
Somewhat.
Something like that.
It's about the time where, Japan was changing its culture a bit to accept Western ways and electricity in the factories and the homes and whatever. So about just 100-odd years or so ago, whatever it was.
It kind of influenced some interesting stuff today.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's dive into the stuff, Mike.
Really hard, this.
Yeah, most of it's all the same thing. It's, as I said
And
before, it's an anime, and most of these actors are Japanese.
It started off as a manga publication, I gather. It's been in redone in game form a couple of times. I think there's some talk of a film, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was probably 2 anime movies and 1 live action one. I think I'm not sure.
Then we got here this series here. It's just so confusing. It's just, it's all jumbled in together in the notes here.
And of course, there's the dating game, the reverse harem kind of games, where the lead character ends up with one of the characters in the end, like as a bit of a love match. Again, I'm not even familiar with these games. They're mostly very wordy to me.
Yeah, but the point is they want them that way. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at this point.
Anime television series. Okay, here. Directed by Akitaro Dashi, I think. Written by Yukiko Izumi and Hakura. It could be Yukikomo Izumi Hakura. Mm-hmm. And then it's got Motoko Takahashi. I think I'm right. Okay. I'll leave that alone now before I totally make a fool of myself.
Quite right. As you always are.
Right, okay. Oh. I will mention a few things here. This was the original run date, January 2019, through to January the 9th through to March the 27th, 2019. There's 12 episodes. Now, I'm not going to go through the cast per se because it's all Japanese names and only voiceovers. However, I will mention a couple of things. There's a girl called Mei, I won't mention try her last name, and she's our main lead actress who goes back in time and sees this reverse harem scenario and blah, 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 blah. There's a guy called Ogai Mori. I think he is the main guy there. He's a doctor. He's a pretty well-respected man, army doctor. Shunso is a friend of his who's an artist. Mm-hmm. And there's a guy called Otozero, who's an actor who likes to cross-dress. He helps our little friend whatever her name is,
with etiquette and
stuff, and teaching her how to be a lady. Really funny, a man teaching a girl to be a lady. Well, anyway, I think that's about. I won't go through everybody else.
Most of these people are real people.
They're based on real people out of history back in that time.
Yeah.
So
They're, aside from those 3 people you mentioned, Mike. There's also an English guy named Patrick, who I guess his name would be different in Japanese, obviously.
Yes.
And he was known for writing ghost stories, and I guess he came out to Japan to live and educate in the university up there, and he lived and got married there, according to history books. And the other one is a playwright who wrote plays and stuff, and he's a bit of a germophobic, if that's the word.
Very much, yes.
And And let me see. I think that's about it. I think, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's everyone I could. Oh yeah, there's a soldier who's he's part of a spiritual defense group, whatever.
Yeah, his name's Goro.
Who is a bit of a, very serious type guy.
I think he hates the world around him and everything.
Yeah,
he's a very serious man.
He especially hates that Mei, the female character, has the ability to see ghosts.
Yes.
Or supernatural things beyond our understanding, according to him and according to a lot of people. So, anyway, I might as well dive into the story, shall I?
Okay. Yeah, I won't go through too many other things there. It'll get confusing otherwise.
Yeah. I'll go into
before I forget, I might forget to tell later on, this is obviously made in Japanese language with subtitles, but there is an English dubbed version of it available online and other places. So those of you who want to order it after we have our little thingy,
I haven't found it yet.
just keep an eye. If you're going to rent a copy or buy a copy or whatever, you have an option of both, but you might get stuck with one which might be Japanese without subtitles. So be very, very careful when you're choosing. Don't blame the supplier or the streaming service or whatever.
Yeah. Just
be careful when you select, okay? I think that's about all. There's nothing I can talk about. There's nothing I do about, the production they filmed here and there. It's animated, yeah. So Sarah's going to take over and tell a really nice story now.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short as possible, guys.
Right.
Because considering it is 12-episode series.
Once upon a time as a little girl. Let's get started from there, eh?
Yeah. So Mei, the girl at the beginning, she's a high school student, and she has the ability to see ghosts and supernatural stuff. And unfortunately, this kind of alienates her against any making friends with the girls in her school. And one night, when she's walking home, she encounters a couple of them, and one of them asks her, "Would you like to come out with us to have some cake and sweets?"
Good stuff.
All that good stuff. But unfortunately, she says no, because she thinks that, she just thinks they're kind of gossiping about her and her ability to speak to ghosts. Yeah. And they think this will scare them. So she says, no, don't bother. And so they head off, and she is left alone walking, and then she hears this weird voice calling her name. And she then heads into this festival of sorts. And there
carnival or something. Yeah.
There we see this interesting magician called Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got an English name in this one.
Oh, yeah. Charlie, the travelling magician. Yeah.
And he selects Maya out of zillions of people to disappear for a couple of minutes. Of course, he invites her onto the stage. At first, she says no, but then she changes her mind, and eventually it's pulled onto the stage, and she gets placed in the box, and 1, 2, 3 gets zapped into time. And then we see that she arrived in Tokyo back in, what would you say, 1900s or 1800s?
It's got to be 100 or so years ago, because they were just aimed to electrify. Well, they're talking about electrifying homes and streets and factories.
Yes, so they're in the industrial revolution of Japan, whenever that may be.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's on the middle of the road, and there she nearly comes close to being run over by a carriage. And there she meets our two first guys. What's his name? Bad names.
Lord. Ogani and Sunsu.
Yeah, they're heading towards an embassy party, and they see her on the road, and they notice that she has no memory of whatever, and she doesn't have any memory of her future or past or whatever.
Anything, no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, they invite her along, and there she encounters our other male leads in this production, where she meets the actor, and she meets the English writer he
had a Japanese name, I can't remember what it was, but he also goes by the name.
He gave her a
Patrick.
card that said whatever name it is. And she meets the germophobic stage writer. I don't know if he's really a germophobic in real life. I couldn't find any facts about him.
No, I think it was just thrown there for comic relief.
Yeah, I think that some people may have historically found out about his habits. It's probably written somewhere. Anyway, soon enough, a spirit starts roaming amongst the guests at the party. It's a sort of fox spirit.
Yeah, here we go. Now, Mei is I've got to refer a name for it. I can't remember what it was now, but she can see spirits. So this is the spirit of a fox, but no one else can see the fox.
It starts roaming the group. Yeah. It starts tapping on the piano, scaring a woman out of her skirt.
Up her skirt,
Up her skirt. And
what's it doing up there looking for the... Yeah.
And starts playing around with a chandelier. And then our soldier guy I told you guys about, he appears and he's about to slay the little fox.
But he can sort of see it in the reflection of his sword, which was... sort of spiritually enhanced. That's so he can actually see stuff. Remember, he see the reflection of it.
Meg quickly jumps in the way and tries to defend the fox, saying it's not causing. Well, yeah, it's actually causing a bit of distress, but not too much.
But it's not his fault.
Yeah, but soon enough, the lights flick back on, and then he's about to, hurt Mei. But luckily enough, Hojo appears, and he tells him that this is my fiance. You should not touch her.
And now this guy, OJ, was supposed to be a well-respected, well-known doctor,
in the army,
and saying that she is my fiance will protect her from any harm from anybody.
This is where this adventure begins, and this is where also she doesn't encounter Charlie at the party, and he tells her that, tells her in this next episode that by the next month, by the next full moon, she can go home.
Yeah, he has to do it on the full moon.
Yeah,
he said.
Yeah,
and then when he's ready and he gets his everything organised, he will spirit her back to her real time.
Yeah.
If she wants to go.
A lot of things happen because of the full moon thingy wing. Like the playwright I mentioned, his lead character kind of up and leaves his story. And I could say the same thing for our painter guy, his character from his painting just sort of up and leaves.
Yeah, the spirit of a cat.
Yeah, it's a beautiful painting, and it's a popular series of paintings, like I understand. With a little pussycat in it. Because he's famous for having cats in his paintings, and probably other animals here and there. That's probably...
I think cats is the main thing. I think there was a cat in one of the other paintings, I think.
Yeah. There was also a weasel creature. I can't be sure. I'm not familiar with whatever animals they have in Japan. Maybe it could be a weasel. I could be wrong. Anyway, so...
A thing.
Yeah, so also the Patrick guy I mentioned, he's also encounters his own ghosts, a ghost named Jane, who was an old childhood friend of his. He used to see ghosts himself, but then
he lost the ability
because of an eye accident. In one of his eyes. And this kind of causes him to lose that connection to seeing ghosts. But luckily enough, he was able to meet the ghosts and was able to make amends with her. And they were able to, move on with each other.
Yeah, lovely.
Anyway, so...
Die happily ever after.
Yeah. Anyway, when later on, Mei begins to realize when she does start experiencing more and more of Tokyo in that time, she starts feeling like she's not inaccurate to be the guy's fiance. She feels like she's inappropriately equipped according to the society.
Well, yes, he's a modern girl going back into an older society with different social ways, and they're a little bit more marked because they're the rich gentry. So how's that? Yeah.
See, his aunt approached him and telling him you should get married and start thinking of your future, stuff like that. And she gives her the evil eye, saying you looking at her and thinking that she's ill-breeded and she's not ill-bred and has no family or family connections. And then she decides to go to a sort of geisha's house to learn etiquette and other
because
stuff.
geishas were actually trained in etiquette and stuff.
Yeah, and they're equipped with it.
Yeah.
Of course, she gets assisted by the actor, who is secretly dressing up as
And
a
she
geisha.
doesn't know that the actor, the male actor, is actually the geisha who's teaching her how to be a lady.
Yeah, he has a thing for her. Like all the guys in this anime, they all get a crush on her at different times and for different
Even
reasons.
this weird guy is a cross-dressing guy. Yeah.
I don't think he's a cross-dresser. I think he's just using it as a way of practicing his acting around the public.
Possibly, I don't know.
But I could be wrong.
He still likes females.
Yes, he's still crushing on them, and he's the most well-loved
And
man
good-looking,
in
very
the whole town. And you should see the girls. It's like meeting a celebrity like if you were meeting your celebrity, your favorite celebrity in today. I don't know who would be the most popular at the moment, but you can guess that he would be the most well-attractive, well-received kind of guy. Anyway, so
all the girls like him.
he helps her using his stick in hand to beat the snot out of her.
No, he wants to fast track her, so he has this long stick and he slaps her up when she doesn't perform well. That sort of stuff. It's not nasty, it's not horrible, it's just a way of...
To quote a few lines from Memories of a Geisha, geishas do have to be put through severe, training where they have to sit properly, they have to stand properly, they have to walk properly, and all the above. This stuff is really important considering the fact they're entertaining men and they have to make sure that they remain...
Yeah, they have to walk properly, they're not big steps, they've got to move gently.
They have to be the object of every man's delight,
exactly.
in other words.
Their desire and their fantasy girls, that sort of stuff.
Their dream girl, if you will. Anyway, so he hammers it home and then he finds out he's going to have a party later on that evening. So he needs a few new geisha to assist, and he gets it from her and the playwright who just got chased down by a dog, and he nearly came close to burning his geisha house down at one point.
Well, shit happens.
Yes, don't say that, Mike. You don't know who's watching.
I can't say that word.
So anyway, he gets him and Mei to dress as geisha.
Yeah. I don't know why, but...
well, you can't really dress him like a guy. It wouldn't be so funny.
No, it was funny.
Anyway, they do have the party, and there we meet the guy who is going to be bringing electricity to Japan.
Yeah, he's bringing the technology. He wants to explain to him, this will be good for everybody, trying to get investors who are going to put money towards it.
He approaches a very wealthy gentleman who... will probably either make or break his political chance of getting electricity to Japan. And, of course, some of the gentlemen there keep saying that electricity will be a downfall to their country.
That's a flash in the pan. It'll work. It'll never work.
Of course, thanks to Mei and her singing ability, she was able to convey the fact that electricity could make Japan's future and stuff like that. And she kind of does it in a nice, cute dance and stuff like that.
Yeah, it wasn't that cute. It was pretty pathetic. But anyway,
and it kind of swayed the decision thanks to her. And the man was very grateful to her, and he even approaches her and says that you're unlike any woman I've ever known, stuff like that. Everyone says that about her because she knows the future. She kind of even mentions the stuff like she knows bits about them,
electric trains and stuff, and that came into a song. Transport and televisions and telephones and which I hadn't heard of yet.
Yeah. Anyway, soon enough, she starts developing feelings for our lead guy, the guy she's staying with.
Yogi, whatever.
Yeah, and she's starting to think maybe I should stay, but. She's told by the magician Charlie that she's going to stay only for a month, and that would mean she have to return to where her own time is. And so she's sort of torn between going back to her present or leaving the guy or staying with the guy she loves, all that stuff. So she's torn between two worlds: her real world, the world that she lives in, and the world that many, many years ago. So she's torn.
Yeah, I would have it hard if if I was her in a role reversal, I met someone really good back in the past like that, and I was really powering away up a good relationship and everything, I'd find it very hard to come back home. It's hard choice.
Anyway, soon enough, she continues her search for the cat from the painting, obviously. She's promised that she'd assist him.
Pussy.
She also, along the way, they do eventually encounter so-and-so stage writer's ghost, seen his story, and he was able to convey it to her to come back to his imagination.
Good.
Because that's where she belongs, and if she hopes to have a good ending to her story.
And also, she should come back to the person who really loves her.
Yes.
Which is the guy who actually created her in his mind.
Yes.
Yeah, lovely.
Anyway, the next story, of course, we do encounter the soldier, and we get the biggest story to how he was able to get a sort of his sword in... is able to see ghosts, stuff like that. It seems that an evil spirit was possessing a man, was able to zap itself inside his sword. And then he starts using that sword to hunt down spirits.
Exactly.
Of course, when he tells this to Mei, he wants Mei to join his crusade. Of course, she says that the past ghosts that she encountered are not ghosts to be slain, but ghosts to try to be helped.
Exactly.
And she thinks that she doesn't want to join this crusade, stuff like that. So he kind of lets her go, and then we move on to... We do find out where they do find the cat spirit eventually, and we're able to send him back to the painting stuff. We also find out a little bit more about the guy she's staying with's backstory, about how he studied in Germany, and there
that's right, he met the lady or something.
Yeah, and then he meets a lady, and they couldn't become a relationship because he's there to study to be a doctor, and his country would not allow them to, go to the next level. Because that's not part of the contract.
Bugger.
Anyway, she dies.
Bit of R&R. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
She dies, and then he's haunted by his memory of her, obviously. Eventually, thanks to Mei, she was able to help him. And I think that it was more to do with the fact he knew deep down that Mei would leave, obviously, and he didn't want her to leave. So that's why I think he was struggling with trying to write his story, stuff like that. And I should mention, guys, that story goes on to become a very popular stage play, I think.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was called Madame Butterfly, I think. I could be wrong.
I can't remember.
It's a popular play.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Anyway, back to the story.
Correct.
Mei recovers her memory, and she realizes that her mother and father, they own a sort of one of those antique stores thingies where it sold ancient books and stuff, and that's where she gets her bit of knowledge about their past stuff. So she has a good knowledge, and of course she also remembers her time with the girls that she last saw in the end of the first, at the first episode, obviously.
Yeah.
So now that this new knowledge is returned to her of her past, or past or future, whatever.
The future, past, future.
I don't know.
All that thing. Yeah, where it came from.
She now feels obligated that she must return, even though she's starting to feel like she doesn't want to leave, but. She's still, by the episode 12, she wants to leave, obviously, and she does attend a party again. This is sort of the party to announce her engagement with so-and-so. Of course, she returns in her normal school uniform clothes, which everyone frowned upon, and she dances her last few dances with the guys who changed her life around. Of course, she makes her goodbye, and eventually she encounters the doctor near the full moon, and they say their final goodbyes, saying how much they love each other, and she kisses him, and Charlie was able to send her back to the same time when she encountered the girls when they were going for cake, and she finally has decided to up the courage to finally allow her to hang out with them. then we cut to the past where the remaining the guys that changed their life are marking will they ever see her again, and they say maybe someday. It's probably mentioned in the book movie. And then we cut to the credits, the end.
Lovely.
I mean, I'm sorry I'm skipping ahead, guys, but the movie...
is 12 episodes.
It is 12 episodes, and most of the stuff is rather
It's a nice story,
interesting.
is it?
I do think that some of the stories are interesting, and I like the guy she encounters, like the actor who's very seductive and cool.
Now, what I was going to say, time frame, not sure when it was, but I was talking to Sarah the other day about this, yesterday, that Memoirs of a Geisha, that movie, had a bit of an industrial revolution going on in that as well. So whatever time period that was set in, it might be a similar period, or just before it. I'm not real sure.
Well, they did have Western clothing. The men did.
They had the Western clothing, and some of the buildings were designed in Western styles, but Western influence had been going on through the traders before electricity.
True.
And stuff. But the electricity and stuff would have actually revolutionised their factories and everything else, and so there was going to be a big thing,
I seem to recall, Mike, that they did mention in Memories of Geisha how one of the guys, one of the characters, was into harnessing the power of electricity. So, who knows?
Same sort of period.
Who knows how the same kind of period.
They had geishas there, and had the old culture giving way a little bit, or merging with the new culture from the Westerners, and same sort of period. So when you think of Memoirs of a Geisha, and you think of this, okay, I can see there's an interesting time for the Japanese people.
I gotta admit, it must have been a very big, interesting, where they had to switch to modern day stuff and modern day, etiquette and modern day other stuff.
They didn't have to switch. They've still got their old ways. They've still got the traditional ways. But the newer people, the younger people come in, probably became more comfortable with the newer ways.
I gotta admit, I do like the men in their kimono. I don't know what they call it.
I think they're called kimonos for males and females. But most people think, females wear kimonos. No, well, guys wear kimonos too. I think it's the same name.
I think they look really hot in them.
Yeah, those nice roby things. They look very elegant.
Yeah. And I gotta admit, I was looking at their...
When you look at those samurai movies, the guys are wearing something like a skirt.
True.
Yeah, they got a tunic on or something rather than something like a big volume skirt. Very loose-fitting skirt, so they can move the legs very quite easily and stuff. The samurai.
Yeah, true.
Who knows? They could have been pardon the expression, like a bisexual clothing, where they can wear the same sort of clothing. What is the word for it? I can't remember. Where like unisex. Where a lady can wear a man's shirt, a man can wear a lady's something, and it was acceptable because it sort of suited both.
I gotta admit though, I do like it that the female's kimono comes off as either sexy and very very elegant, while the men's one is like both elegant but also very masculine. Which is what I like about it. It shows the masculine qualities of back then.
When you look at what do you call it? Some of those other Japanese, like the Last Ninja and stuff. They were wearing that sort of stuff. They were wearing battle dress and ordinary stuff, and they did look manly in those sort of clothes.
That's what I like about it. I mean, I almost wish I could I almost wish we could wear that sort of thing even back. Nowadays, maybe a few people do on special occasions sometimes.
Australians don't have national dress like that because we're a young country. But and say even America, the American Indians, they got their national dress.
It's the same thing when I think about how I almost wish when we were younger we had an ordinary school uniform consisting of a t-shirt or a dress, while they were the girls would have worn a sailor outfit, which I thought was kind of cute.
I was thinking about it. actually, there's something, I don't know if it's just Japanese, I think it's mainly Japanese. This bit about the sailor suits,
Yes.
that's part of their culture.
I know.
Now, every school uniform has that nautical sort of sailor sort of look about it because it has something to do with their culture about the Navy.
I know.
And that's why the boys have something like a nautical theme to the clothing. The girls have the same thing. Yeah.
I just mean that I
No,
love.
about every show you see.
I know, I've seen them. I just wish that we had that sort of. I mean, I just wish that we had that kind of style about us. I mean, I think it would have made it a little bit more, awesomely dressed more.
Well,
I mean, instead of just the stupid, just ordinary T-shirt and just pants
Well,
and
I
just
wore a suit to school.
dress combo.
I wore a suit to school.
We just wore check dresses back in the
I
day.
didn't.
Well, you were a man guy.
No, I'm saying I wore a suit. A dark blue suit with a light blue shirt and a collar's tie. That's what from year so after primary school and secondary school, which would be year 7 through to 10. I was wearing a suit to school.
Yeah. Anyway, I always wish our school uniform was a little bit better. It would have been wonderful instead of something so boring that you just want to throw up.
Throw up in it. Yeah, the point is they wanted to keep the cost down for the families. They wouldn't have to spend too much money on clothing as well. You got to look at both aspects of it.
I guess
the private schools had better uniforms. The state schools had cheaper ones to keep the cost down. Blah 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 blah. But all the girls had similar sort of dresses with the print of the fabric would almost pretty much tell you what school they belonged to, because they're all, a bit like a Scots tartan. The different families had a slightly different weave in the pattern. So the school uniforms in all countries will have a slightly different pattern on the girls' skirts and dresses and whatever to indicate what school they belong to. Interesting. Why? I'll never know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter so much. So, I wonder. Do you want to rate this now? Because I think I don't have very much else to say about this movie.
No, there's not much to say. I mean, look, honestly, when I started watching this anime stuff, I mean, I like animation. Okay, but I'm used to, like your Aladdin and that sort of stuff, and Ice Age, And you come along here, it's a different style of animation.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I'm aware, the manga books they're based on were a cartoon-style book made for adults. Is that correct? Yeah.
Made for a bit different levels of adult.
Not for kids. Older teens, young adults, older adults, but they were done as a comic book, but for an adult theme to them. And then they've transferred the manga into games and anime and whatever. And honestly, once you get used to it, the style is not too bad, and the storylines aren't too bad because they were actually written as a manga story before it became an animated TV series or web series.
Yeah, I mean,
that's come out quite good. So, having said all that, I didn't initially like the concept of reviewing these, but the more I see them, the more I like them. So I'm going to give it about a 9.
Yeah, I'm going to give this 9.5 out of 10 myself. Because I do like the story takes place with some historic figures, even though some of them are not familiar to me because I'm not I'm not familiar with them.
That other one we saw there where that girl went back in time, she actually met an emperor or somebody saying his person, and he was a real emperor, and that guy was a musician or something rather, a creative guy, and they're just all real people out of history.
Yeah, well,
it's really good to have substance.
Well, some people may. I mean, just so you guys know, in Australia we have our history, but most of us don't know from Captain Cook or Captain Hook. So we can't really...
don't be... No,
I'm not just...
No, the point is we've only got a shallow history. It only goes back about 200 years.
Yeah, our history just goes back to... we were just a British colony, and
in
then...
1788. We're not a very old country, and we don't have a lot of... old stuff. Then we go from being a prison camp to it's a bit of a sheep colony type thing. We're ending up where people back in those days would have ended up using us as a bit of a sheep area
to get sheep's furs and just use them for a sort of new cotton.
We did have. I can't remember. And then we did wheat
and sugar.
Wheat and sheep and other things, but a lot more sheep farming.
Yeah, we were well known for the sheep part.
Marsden, I think. I can't remember. I can't remember my history at the moment. But yeah, they got the merino, two different types of sheep, and bred them and came out for different sort of wool blend, which is really, really good, very popular. So
yeah, and it kind of made some of the prisoners eventually
they get their freedom.
They got their freedom.
Land allocations.
Yeah, eventually, after a period of time of their sentence is carried out, they can finally either head back home or they can actually set up their own businesses down there.
I don't think you could head back home because no one's going to give them any money to go back home.
True.
They'll give them land allocations.
Yeah, of course that's thanks to Captain Bligh, whoever his name is.
Well, actually, Captain Bligh, he was part of our original.
Yeah, he was part of
first element.
Yeah, he was a part of the plan of trying to get at least to allow the prisoners a chance to, get their sentence a little bit.
No, we don't know. You probably haven't heard too much of this. I can't remember the history. So, Captain Bligh was part of it. Captain Phillip was. These guys there were responsible for getting the first settlements done in Australia and different things, and making Sydney and
of course changing Australia into a better environment.
And then free settlers came and blah 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 blah, and here we are today. Right. Get over it.
Yeah, true.
Okay,
we don't have a very good history. It's not as it's not as impressive as the Italians or the Greeks or even the I just like I would have loved the colourful type environment story.
The Chinese and Japanese and all the Asian cultures, they've been there for a really, really long time, and the Italians and Greeks and the English, same thing. America's older. The white American. That goes back a few more hundred years. I can't remember when the founding fathers came out to America. I don't know American history, but that was quite a few hundred years ago. But before they had Indians, the Indian people were the only ones there. So you would have had all the Indian heritage there, and then the new English, English European culture coming into America.
I guess the only thing that brings that culture a little bit more into a bright, interesting light is Nick Kelly, obviously.
Well, we had Ned Kelly. He's a good fella.
Even though I still don't know if he was either a villain or a hero to Australia.
I think he was a good guy. He was forced into a life of, let's say, he's forced in a poke in the bear a lot. How's that?
Yeah, poke.
Well, they treat him like crap. He treated his family like crap. So, so he got revenge on them, and he stole from the rich guys, and a bit like a modern day Robin Hood. He'd steal from the rich guys, and he wouldn't hurt the poor people.
Yeah, but he still did took him down to wherever during bank robberies. They took him down to wherever, and I don't know what they did with the hostages. So probably killed them. I don't know.
I don't think they did. I think they might have had some. I think
that part is glossed over.
I think some of it's been exaggerated. Mm-hmm. He did kill a couple of people. But if someone's got a gun on you, shooting you, or threatening your life, and you're a criminal, you're going to protect yourself. So
that's where the story gets kind of lost.
I don't think he went out of his way to hurt people.
Yeah, that's where the story gets a little bit, glossed over.
We'll have to check with your friend Motzi.
Yeah, I may have to
Suzette and find out because he's related to him.
Yeah.
Not directly. A couple
just
of decades.
Just a couple of decades, and I don't know if she might be a second cousin or something.
Whatever.
Anyway, doesn't matter at this point.
Availability. Here we go, guys. If you want to get stuck into some anime, right? eBay, there's plenty for sale. Amazon, you can rent it and you can buy it.
Got it.
Obviously, it'll be on other streaming services and whatever.
Check.
Now, like I said earlier, it's in Japanese with subtitles. Or you can get the English dubbed version.
And as I said...
But there might be other languages too, I do not know.
And bear in mind, guys, if you're looking for the movies and stuff like that, be sure to check the dates.
But make sure, this is done 2019. It's a 12-episoder. What I was going to say is... if you're not into anime or you don't know too much about it, I would actually rent one or two off Amazon or another streaming service and see if you liked it. And then if you like, then buy it maybe or watch the whole series. But Have a go because they're not bad.
Or check out that special Crunchyroll type anime stream thing.
What's that? Sorry.
Oh, it's a sort of a special streaming area where you can actually either play games, you can actually watch an anime, and maybe a movie if you're lucky.
Okay.
I guess I haven't tried it myself, but I tried to tried to become a member, but I guess they asked for a payment on membership stuff. And you can also go on to that other place I went to when I was looking at other animes called Billy something or other.
No, is it Blah Blah? No.
Yeah, Blah Blah, whatever. Yeah, it's a sort of
Billy or Blah Blah.
Billy, yeah.
Billy. Yeah, B-I-L-I. Yeah, twice. B-I-L-I, B-I-L-I.
You can look up animes from there. That's usually the best way I could probably go. No promises that you may get an English dub one. No promises, because not every single anime you're going to find is going to be in English.
But if you don't mind reading, subtitled one's okay.
And it's also good to learn the language here and there.
Well, I don't know about that, but sometimes the anglicised version of it loses some of the feeling.
True.
It's all like...
It's just like
and
when...
the translation's, g'day.
It's just like when we watched that Asian zombie TV series we watched at the beginning of the year.
That's different.
Where in that one they tried to dub the language into English, and there it's hard to. Every time I listen to the dialogue, I mean the English dialogue, I close my eyes and can't really see it being portrayed by an person in Asia. I keep seeing an American person really saying the language.
My problem with the dubbing of some of these Asian, I won't say Japanese, because you got Japanese, Chinese.
I could be wrong about the country.
Can I finish what I was saying? But the problem with a lot of these Asian movies,
TV shows,
when they translate it into English, is I think they get an Asian person to do the English script, and then they try to transfer it in the same meaning from their local language into English, and they're trying to do it a little bit too literal, so it doesn't make too much sense sometimes to an English-speaking person listening to the stuff, say, this is pretty crap. Yeah. And I'm not being rude, because it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, it would be...
You've got to be anglicised totally in feeling as well.
It's different if it was an anime, because in anime, seeing as most of the characters would often have their hair bleached a different colour, like a blonde or a yellow or even a brunette, you feel like they're not Asian. They're Western characters.
Because I think they do that because a lot of people got the same colour hair over there. They get tired of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It matters not, but I
talk about the language.
But I feel like sometimes, when I listen to the dubbed English ones, I do feel like sometimes it's pretty strange.
Not strained. It's forcing it. It's not working. Yeah.
But it makes a little more sense because I don't see too many. I mean, when they do the live action with Japanese real people, I feel like sometimes they remove the it removes the illusion of who the characters look like. The whole imagination of what they look like.
Yeah, the voice sometimes doesn't suit the role of the person. Is that what
no, it's not what I'm saying. It's just the look from the anime. From anime to real person.
From the anime to a real person.
Real person to from anime to real person. You feel like all of a sudden the person you've seen in your head, cartoon that's been playing in your head, is suddenly turned into an actual human being, and it destroys the image of that character.
So like Alf turning into Chewbacca or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that whole imagination behind it. Like you always thought the cute. Darien from Sailor Moon is just an ordinary teen boy who, well, you would not. You would just.
He wasn't bad looking.
I used to think Darien was older, like he was in his 20s, because he was so whole good looking and stuff.
Hot.
I mean, it would be different if it was the fruit fruits basket ones. I always think those would definitely pull off as teens, obviously,
Yeah,
considering
older
considering
teens,
their
yeah.
immaturity mostly.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Anyway, do you want to kill it?
Yeah, might as well. So anyway, that's what's it called again?
No, actually, it's going to be. You're going to write it up.
Yeah. I got
Meiji, 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 Tokyo, like in the city.
Tokyo. I'm familiar with.
Renka, Renka.
Yes.
Now, yeah, we do a Wikipedia or IMDb on it and have a look over it and read. But yeah, remember it's a TV, anime TV
yes. So
program.
Yeah. So that's that anime. So be sure to check it up on the place Mike recommended.
Yeah, Wikipedia, IMDb, or your other favourite place.
Yeah. So that's it for us tonight. Oh, I should mention, guys, you may have heard me I'm at the moment developing my own separate movie review vlog at the moment, where I'm reviewing other types of movies and TV shows. One's outside of the genre.
Our normal scope. She's doing it by herself.
Yeah, where you may get to see a bit of glimmers of the movies and TV series that I will be reviewing. So you won't be disappointed. You'll definitely get a glimmer of the product where I'm going to be reviewing, so won't be disappointed, and you'll get to hear me giving a movie recap about those film projects.
Makes me feel like I want to do something like horror movie hosting or something like Bobby Gammonster or something or other, or Elvira maybe.
I don't think the world is ready for that, Mike.
No. Me dressed as Elvira? I shouldn't think so. No.
We've already had
Bobby
male
Gammonster,
Elvira.
I'm closer to that, you reckon?
Well, we'll have to figure out your image first.
My image.
We don't want plagiarism on this.
Okay, you're going to dress up like Jabba the Hutt, a big fat slug?
Yeah.
Okay.
That won't get away with it. All right, that's it from us now, guys. So be sure to check out the anime we mentioned.
Yeah, guys.
And let us know in the comments what you guys think of the TV series. And if you do see the movies or the live action, be sure to get back to us
the
for
feedback
ASAP.
would be nice. Yeah.
So a little bit of feedback would not
And
hurt
if you play the
us,
game, you're like, we don't like it. I don't play games.
I'm not familiar with the games, but I like to know a little bit of feedback on them myself. So even if I don't get to play them, you can give me a bit of info.
If it's worth it or not.
Okay. So that's it from us tonight. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around. We'll see you guys on our next episode in Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.